Hello and welcome to HyzerMedia's coverage of the final 9 holes at the Red Rock Roundup Shiprock at Shiprock Disc Golf Course in Willow Street, PA. This coverage is partially brought to you by our Patreon supporters. Thank you very much to them, and thank you for joining me. I'm Dave Oster, here to bring you the commentary for this back 9. We have a couple guys in contention for the lead within a few strokes, Ethan, Curtis, and Jesse. So we'll get started, see what they can do on hole 10, par 3, 257 feet, blind basket from the tee, up and over this hill, a couple trees on the right side to miss, and then quite a few more guardians once you get up near the basket. So Ethan Hine, our current leader, will get us started. Bit of a high looking forehand. Oh, and giving the basket a scare and good dig. Hitting that loose soil right past the basket, a little sandy. Definitely slowed that disc down quickly. Curtis Toews up next, takes it a bit too wide to the left, catches those trees, but he's up somewhere near the green. Jesse Longenecker taking it straight at the basket, a little bit lower than what we saw Ethan, but he is probably a similar distance short of the basket. Ramie Millar taking it right side of the fairway. Kind of can play it off that hill as long as you don't turn it over or have it hyzer too much so it rolls back down, but the forehand spin usually eliminates that. And Liss also on the right side has a look at it for his birdie. And we can see here that Curtis has a very difficult task to try to get onto this green. Just a wall of trees. Oh, and an unfortunate roll away after catching the tree. Looked like he almost saved that par. But now he's going to have a long bid just to save his bogey. A nice putt by Ramie. He's down to 10 down. So, look out. He's only a few strokes. This is obviously the short layout still, so anything could happen. Jesse with a good putt. Bring him tied for second place with Curtis at the moment. But Curtis has a putt for his bogey. And Jacob with a nice birdie putt. Looks like he straightened his out a little bit. And Ethan a little high, catches the band, still falls in. Probably thanks to the downhill putt, the momentum still going in towards the chains. Thank you, Jesse and Jacob, for not blocking my shot. And sorry to Curtis for the unfortunate double bogey. And we'll move on to maybe the most iconic hole on this course, hole 11, par 3, 204 feet. Seems like a normal hole off the tee, but once you get up there, you realize that you're throwing down a 25 to 30 foot straight down cliff. I'll call it, it's a cliff. So these guys are trying to get down, but not too far, because there's also an out of bounds river just behind it. And Ethan doing pretty much exactly what you're looking for. Folks, that is not an easy thing to do. Of course, it's the first shot we see, so it looks easy, but certainly is not. Jesse looks like he got caught up top, so we'll see exactly where he lands. This is also a common play, the forehand roller. Try to get it down and just stop and curl up in time, and it looks like Ramie did just that. A little bit further than Ethan was, but he'll be putting. And Jacob's forehand looks like it went a bit too straight. Didn't quite get down there. And Curtis also got down the hill. All right, so we'll see where he wound up, but we'll have 3 putts. And Jesse going with the scuba gets caught up just on top. So there is a safety hazard marked by the ropes. Oh, as that rolls all the way down out of bounds. So we'll see Jesse here. His disc is teetering on the edge, and the rope up top and the rope down below is a cautionary hazard. It's not a stroke penalty if your disc is inside this area. You go to the drop zone without a penalty, just so players aren't trying to putt off of this hill. There's a bit of a question whether or not he was in or out of that area. Luckily, the TD Shawn Conroy was right there, able to clarify. So Jesse goes down to the drop zone with no stroke penalty and makes his par save. So great job by all there. Jacob at the drop zone, unfortunately for an out of bounds stroke, and unable to replicate Jesse's putt. So he'll be looking at a double there. And Ramie with a nice putt, crouching down, low ceiling, able to make it. And Ethan with a more clean look and sneaks it right over the rim. Watch your footing there, but nice birdie nonetheless. Curtis taps in his par, and the birdies on this hole are not easy to come by. This was the hardest hole on the course today, averaging over a stroke over par. 4.06 on a par 3, and only a 204-foot hole, so good job to those guys. And we'll move over to another iconic hole, hole 12, and I'd like to apologize to all of our viewers. We see this deck here that these guys are throwing off of. It's built up and back over a cliff, and I apologize, as we're about to see, because there was nowhere for our T camera to stand to see these players throw. So we'll get the results of their tee shots by the catch cam, but for this one hole, we're not getting our typical look at it. So I apologize. But off the built-up deck, it is a pretty steep drop-off right off of the tee, and then a grassy fairway with the river on the right side, and a few guardian trees gap you're trying to hit off the right at the end of your flight. If you get through there, you're on the green, just like we see. I believe that was Jesse. And now Curtis is up, trying to replicate that. A little bit wider. Does get through and goes long. So Jesse pretty much parked. Curtis a little bit long. And Jacob just a bit too low. Doesn't have the time for it to fly. And Ramie, fortunate to actually still be in bounds. He turned his over, maybe a little bit of a late release. But he's up there. Beautiful left to right turnover shot, and he'll definitely be saving his par from there, so good for him. Good up by Jacob as well. If you're not through this gap, it's going to be difficult to run it for your birdie. But if you do get through there, it's pretty wide open, as long as you're not too far right side, as we see long grass and some brush. So Curtis, maybe 35 or 40 feet long of the basket on this 352-foot hole with a tight gap 300 feet through. So he certainly has some power and obviously accuracy too. Almost ringing it up, actually. Jesse with his birdie is now within 2 of Ethan as Ethan adjusts his footing, make sure he makes this par putt to stay within 2, stay 2 ahead of Jesse, that is. I'm sure Ramie's very happy with this par after that tee shot, and Curtis probably hoping for the birdie. after getting so far down the fairway from his tee shot. But we move on to hole 13, par 3, 298 feet. Pretty much wide out in the open. It's really just a distance control type hole. There is that same river on our right side that we're playing around and some trees, so you can't take it too wide. These players will probably do a flat to hyzer shot, maybe a bit of a flex just to not challenge the right side too much. And Jesse, maybe a bit too much hyzer, a bit too stable. Goes left side, but he'll be on the green. He'll have a look at it. And Ethan taking very wide and high, missing all those trees, and works perfect. I said these players aren't going to be taking the wide hyzer, but Ethan proved me wrong. He challenged those trees. Maybe there's a bit more room up high, and absolutely parks it. Ramie doing pretty much the opposite, trying to go with the low shot all the way there, and maybe just not quite enough glide of a disc that he chose. And this is probably more of a typical shot that you're looking for. Oh! That looked like it was heading for the basket the entire time. Great shot by Curtis. If you haven't followed us on Instagram yet, we are at HyzerMedia. We post short reels of some of the highlights from every round we cover and other fun little things on there. So if you'd like to follow us over there, please do so. We'll see some of the highlights from this tournament on there coming up soon. So Jacob had a great shot as well. He'll probably have a 15, 18 footer left. Ramie has nothing but an up shot. Oh, and Jesse for his birdie off the rim, hits the chains, bounces out. That was a dirty spit out. Obviously a little low, but that could have easily stayed in. Good putt for Ramie's par. Obviously he's a bit disappointed from his drive. Curtis and Ethan have all but tap-in birdies from here. And Jacob and Jesse will be tapping in their pars. A little upset. Obviously that was a putt that easily could have stayed in for Jesse. But he's still within a few strokes. Plenty of holes to go. Hole 14, par 3, 327 feet. Low ceiling if you go straight at it. Same river on the right side. These guys will probably go forehand to get their disc into the open air on the left side. Try to just land it close to the basket. A couple little trees on the left side to avoid, but it was a pretty decent line. And look at this, the ground play and roll for Ethan right up to the basket. He's no more than 5 or 7 feet. And Curtis taking a bit more of a straight line. He'll wind up just short of the basket, maybe 15 or 18 feet. Jesse going very wide. Looked like it flipped over a little bit. Never quite come back. But there's no out of bounds over there left, so he'll again have that shot, up shot from there. And Ramie, maybe he caught a branch or just two nose up. He's short on the right side. Luckily, he didn't go too far right into the water. And this looks like a similar line to Ethan's. We'll see if it's a similar result. And it is. Same ground play. Little roll to the basket. Similar distance, opposite side. Great shot by Jacob. He's been having a bit of a tough round, but really more on the green. He's been throwing the disc very well. So, unfortunately, the score doesn't really seem to be reflecting his round. But he is playing not bad, at least off the tee. So, Ramie and Jesse are just kind of left with up shots, maybe little bids. Not able to make it. Oh, and just low for Curtis off the cage. He's had quite a few of those this round as well. Oh, and almost spit out again. Jesse's putting hard, and sometimes that's what you got to do, but just being a little bit off, that momentum can certainly carry out through the basket or be pushed in a different direction, as we saw on 13, but luckily it does stay in this time. And great birdie by Jacob. Obviously, you can see his body language is not having the round score-wise that he wanted. Obviously had a great round first round, made lead card, but still more holes to go. Turn around this round as the rest of these guys tap in. Ramie and Jacob for par, and Ethan extends his lead for the birdie, with the birdie. So 4-stroke lead over Jesse now. There is 4 holes to go, so not impossible, but Jesse has to hope Ethan doesn't continue his birdie streak here on hole 15, par 3, 323 feet. Pretty much wide out in the open, got to get the distance right. There is a fence long that the players are going to try not to avoid. Most of these are just little hyzers, try to hit the hill and get their bird. And that's pretty much what you're looking for. A little bit further. That's probably 20, 22 feet. Wide out in the open, we see the wind on Jacob's shirt. Maybe a little bit different than what we've been playing with all round. And Jacob a little bit long. Actually turns the catch cam operator Wendy around. Shout out to her, doing a great job this tournament. Hiking up and down these hills. And that's probably more for what you're looking for. Hit just short of the basket and skip up to it. Good shot by Curtis. And Jesse going more straight at it. A little bit left side, but good shot right in the green. Probably similar distance to Curtis. Ramie going low. Hyzer. And yeah, closest to the group. Great shot. Nestles down right in that little divot by the basket. So we've got a couple putts here. A little bit of a hill, so there is a risk of a rollaway. Jacob just low off the cage, but that was probably a 30, 35, maybe 33 footer for him. Ethan also a bit low, doing some trick shots with his chalk bag. And good putt by Curtis. He's pushing back towards that second place position, although Jesse also has a putt for his birdie here. He can bring it to within 3 of Ethan as he's sitting under the basket for par. And he nails it. So it's getting close up to the top. He needs Ethan not to continue birdieing, and he needs the birdie for 4 holes, and he did it the first time, so. Rest of these guys tapping in. Great tap-in birdie for Ramie. He's only a few shots back from that 3rd place position, so he's pushing. And hole 16 is a par 4, and it's an eagleable par 4 from this short position, as we'll see in the hole preview coming up. Beautiful scenic shot from up here. Hole 16, par 4. You see the gap. The basket is just through that gap and maybe another 100 or so feet, and it plays downhill. So 541 feet. Certainly reachable for these top guys on the MPO division. And it looks like Curtis is going for it. Oh, and gets caught up. He was trying to sneak through those trees that are either dead or don't have leaves on them quite yet. There's not quite a gap up there. The gap is more where it looks like Jesse's heading for. Needs to start hyzering, and it is. He's calling for it. Oh, and he makes it to circle 2. All right, so he'll have an eagle look to try and catch Ethan. Keep Curtis off of his heels. We'll see what Ethan winds up doing. Ramie turns it over, but cut rolls back onto the hill. He actually throws it over that out-of-bounds bunker and winds up in not a bad spot to play this for birdie. Oh, and there is out-of-bounds left. Oh, we see the flags. I think Ethan fell just short of that. All right, so this is interesting. Ethan fell short. He's going to have a tough, even up and down for birdie, probably more likely a par without some crazy luck shot. And Jesse is looking at eagle, so it could get interesting. We see that out of bounds line, and Ethan has a window. Oh, skips a little long. Oh, that's just fine. Wow, that was a great shot from out of position, almost out of bounds. Even with the birdie, like I said, Jesse is, I keep saying it, eagle opportunity, eagle opportunity. Still has a opportunity to gain a stroke on Ethan. Curtis leaving a little bit meat on that bone, trying to get up and down. Jacob also with an eagle look. Didn't seem like he was that far up, but definitely he got through there. So let's see what Jesse can do here. And just high. He definitely wanted that, and he knew it. Also a little high for Curtis. And that was for his birdie, so now he's there for par. This is for birdie for Ramie. Good birdie. And if you play this hole, obviously Ramie didn't have the best tee shot, but playing 540 feet is a pretty short par 4. So certainly easy to get that way. Oh, and Jesse misses the birdie putt. So, actually drops a stroke to Ethan, who's now at 20 under par. Jacob also with the birdie there, so good shots by him. Moving on to hole 17, par 4, 448 feet, excuse me, out of bounds all the way up the right side. We see the crop field, and then there's also out of bounds left until you get up to the top of the hill. So fairly pinched landing zone. We'll see it's basically just the top of that hill or further. If you get far enough, you're actually going to be safe, but I don't believe Ramie is far enough, and that will be out of bounds. He'll take it back, and it's not a great spot from there. We see all those little trees. Those are inbounds, so he'll be thrown from under there. Ethan, a little short left side. Maybe playing a little safe. Oh, Jacob, that needs to come back. Little too low for Jacob. Doesn't get it to come back. And Curtis bombing one up the hill. Gets up and over the crest of the hill. He'll probably be 120 feet out. This hole, again, from the short, it's only 448. But so far uphill and tight landing zone, it's probably playing closer to 5 or higher. And Jesse outdrives Curtis. Crazy shot. see the graphic down below for our Patreon. If you'd like to see all the highlights from every round that we cover, be eligible for our monthly disc giveaway, and if you're into HyzerMedia merchandise, you can check out patreon.com/HyzerMedia. We have a few different tiers, a few different benefits there. You can also just support us for as little as $2 a month. So Ramie from out of position throws it past catch cam operator Wendy, turning her around, and I believe he landed in that crop field. It didn't look like that from down below because we were still down under the crest of the hill, but that was certainly a pull from Ramie. And laying out full body commitment and absolutely parking it for Jesse. I'm sure he was trying to make it from there. Essentially another eagle bid for Jesse. But he's parked under the basket for par, and for birdie, and Ethan has this for birdie, and he nails it. And that will pretty much do it, bringing him to 21 under, 5 strokes clear of second place. There is out of bounds on 18, so anything could happen. Jesse's also under the basket, so he's actually only 4 strokes over. So we'll see how it ends up. It looks like we actually have a bit of a tie. Excuse me, I forgot Ramie with the 2 out of bounds strokes was getting a double there. I was about to say that we have a battle for third place, both at 14, but Ramie with the unfortunate 2 out of bounds strokes in that hole. So we see the scores where they are, and we'll see how this tournament finishes out on hole 18, par 3, 289 feet. I heard these players saying this is definitely an aceable hole. There's the one tree right in the middle. Players are either going to be going right or left side of, probably right hand, backhand, or forehand on their respective sides. There's also, like I said earlier, the out of bounds, this same crop field on the right side. Jesse showing us the forehand line. Good shot right up to the green. 20, maybe 18 feet left for his birdie to finish out this tournament. Curtis going a little bit too low. Oh, and catches that tree. Trying to maybe play that low skip shot up the hill. The grass is, again, long, but if you get it real low, you can get a little bit of a skip out of it. Oh, and Jacob, early release, maybe forehand, catches that tree. Ramie showing us the backhand line for the left side and catches that one branch they needed to miss. So 3 of these shots get caught up. Oh, and Curtis almost ringing up the birdie from out of position. Okay, Jacob did stay in bounds. Wasn't sure where that went on the right side. Good upshot by him. Jacob definitely had a tough round, but he battled through quite a few birdies. Playing well off the tee, but he just was struggling on the green. And Ramie with an errant shot, probably less than 100 feet, 120 maybe, and throws it out of bounds. Wow. And Ethan falling down out of his dismay, missing that putt. That was to bring him to 22 under, which would have given him 2 11-down rounds. Winds up actually shooting better from the long tees, and I think a lot of these guys did. Ramie beating himself up for that out-of-bounds shot from so close. Good shot from Curtis. Jesse for the only birdie shot on this hole, and he nails it. So, pretty good round by Jesse. He was caught by Ethan, who has this left for his par to take down the tournament. Great round by Ethan. Very interesting how a lot of these guys shot better the first round from the long tees. Not sure if it was fatigue or just more practice from the long tees. Kind of an interesting, not what you would expect, but congratulations to Ethan Hine, our winner for today's tournament, the 2022 Red Rose Roundup from Shiprock, one of the Elevated Disc Golf series of events. Again, we're going to be covering the finale at Buckmiller Park, the Buckmiller Super Thriller, so please subscribe to us if you want to check that out. Take a look at our final scores. Ethan 3 clear of Jesse, who was a few strokes over Curtis, and Nathaniel Johnson coming into the top 4. The rest of these guys kind of tying for either 6th or 9th. So great shots, great rounds by all. Thank you again to Elevated Disc Golf Events for supporting our coverage, and thank you for watching. Like I said, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe, like this video, and we will see you on the next hole.